stop that?
I'm an integrity officer.
Will you stop that?
Sir, you cannot shut me up.
Get that way. Shut that.
You cannot shut me up.
Who does that?
You cannot shut me up.
Will you shut that?
You cannot shut me. I'm an integrity.
Get that way. I was in school when you
I'm acting on order, sir.
You are who's that?
Sir, you cannot shut
You are a
me
big
up.
fool.
Sir, I'm not a fool.
You are a fool.
I am not a fool.
Shut up, will you stop?
I am not a fool.
You are a big fool.
I am not a fool.
You are coming close.
I am not a fool.
Because I'm an old man. I will just come out and sit there, idiot. You are telling me. You are a big fool.
All right, everyone's cracking up here. Dr. Martin, that is AI generated. That's what we're talking about. AI.
This is very fake. This AI. Dr. Martin, over to you.
Over to you. Right here when we discuss this story.
The first point to be made is that, look, this is very embarrassing.
Yes. Yeah.
In the midst of whatever embarrassing situation, you will see the creativity of Nigerians coming through.
Yes.
Hence all these kits that Nigerians have created. Some are even selling T-shirts. I'm not a fool.
Yeah. Yes.
They turned it into business.
Out there, Dr.
However, the point needs to be made. I think the minister's behavior is very embarrassing. The way he conducted himself should be seen as a matter of serious concern by President Bola Ahmed Tiunbu, who appointed him. Street fighting is not part of the responsibility of anybody that has been appointed by the president. Because I've heard some people saying that he was acting on behalf of the president. No, I'm not aware that President Tiunbu, when he appointed him, gave him the title of Omonile of FCT. Because it's only Omoniles that behave like this. As minister of the FCT, he took the matter into his own hands. He said his officials went to the site and then they told him that they didn't allow them to chase them away. Then he left his office, carried his able-bodied officials and went to the site to go and do what? So the minister himself did not follow due process.
Yes.
Yes.
And I've seen some people expressing the opinion that Officer Yerima was carrying out an unlawful order. With due respect, the Professor Horn, Sebastian Horn, quoting the Nigerian Air Force case and I think Onunzu versus State and all of that. Yes, Supreme Court has ruled that you don't carry out unlawful order when you are in uniform. You can say no. You should in fact say no. But in this particular case, we're told that the officer called his boss, called the chief of defense staff. So that in itself presupposes that he was acting in a lawful manner and not going on a frolic of his own. And in fact, that officer should be commended.
Yes.
Because he conducted himself with maturity. It was the minister in the video that I saw that was shouting, raising his hand, and this is being confirmed by some of the skits that have been produced. So I think that Minister Wike disgraced the assignment, the office of the president, to the extent that, the people arguing that he was acting on behalf of the president. We don't want Omonile as a minister of the Federal Capital Territory. Those who are familiar with the phrase Omonile, they know how Omonile is, how they behave. So this is a matter that should be investigated.
It is.
If it were another president in office, this is more than enough to ask the minister to go back to Port Harcourt.
But you in government, is there a ministerial code? That's the question I've been asking.
There is a general code of conduct now in terms of how public
in
terms of how public officials should behave.
Yeah.
Now look at Punch today. I think it's a front page story. Ex-generals, they say they are angry.
Yes.
Because the ex-generals are saying, look, this has to do with the institutional integrity of the Nigerian military. All of them, without exception, the ones quoted in that story, they are saying that, in fact, Wike should be disciplined.
Right.
That he was involved in an act of indiscipline.
All right.
By taking the laws into his own hands.
Right.
Nobody is above the law.
All right.
And we should not further, disrupt civilian-military relations. What this has done is that if Wike insists on doing Omonile antics across the Federal Capital Territory, other people will be emboldened to challenge him. I hope one day he will not go to his site to take the laws into his hands and they will rough handle him.
All right.
It can happen. This is Nigeria. Anything can happen.
Like you have rightly said, the reactions, however, haven't been entirely light-hearted. Retired military leaders have condemned Wike's language during the exchange, describing it as a national embarrassment, while the Defense Ministry has now launched an investigation into the incident. While speaking during a press briefing to commence activities for the 2026 Armed Forces Remembrance Day at the National Defense College in Abuja on Wednesday, the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru, said the armed forces will not abandon any personnel carrying out full duty.
Well, at the ministry and within the armed forces, we will always protect officers on working duty. So we are looking into question and be rest assured any officer on working duty be protected. I will not do working duty. Doing his job.
You're absolutely right, guys. I mean, the military has spoken. They are backing the naval officer at this point. Quick points before we wrap up.
Somebody just told me what Dr.
Go ahead.
He said what you tell is Ajagungbale.
Right.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
It's those that
Fight to get the land.
Right.
Ajagungbale says so. That is very Ajagungbale.
We're also even hearing that Wike has reportedly.
They are all the same.
We're also even hearing that Wike has reportedly ordered a total ban on the use of mobile phones by staff of the Abuja Geographic Information Systems and the Department of Land Administration following that confrontation with the naval officers sparking pushback among workers who have called the move absurd and anti-labor.
This is a serious issue. We can laugh about it, but I think that there's a point, and that's why it was, if I was asking around code of conduct and whether or not he's overreaching. Let's call a spade a spade. He's overreaching and he's acting like an emperor, and that's why people have tagged him that. And the reason why people cannot even see anything wrong with what the military officer did is that there's just a general dislike of the manner in which he has carried out his duties. Later on, I hear today at 12 noon, he has another press briefing. Oh, wow. Or shall we say call to his chambers or court to come and, so I think it's important for the president to step in at this point.
This is it.
No other minister acting them. I know styles are different, but he's overreaching, and I think that he treated that man with a lot of dishonor and disregard. And it was not just the man, it was the uniform.
Viewers, let's begin what's trending, highlighting the 21st All Nigeria Editors Conference that took place at the State House Conference Center in Aso Villa on Wednesday. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu officially opened the two-day conference organized by the Nigerian Guild of Editors. In his address, he cautioned media institutions on how they portray Nigeria's image, especially to the outside world, saying the focus should be on building a nation of credibility. The president also highlighted the role of social media, noting that while it has made every individual a potential publisher, it has also increased the speed and skill of misinformation. Let's take a look.
We live in a time when information travels rapidly and widely. Social media has made every citizen a potential publisher. This has benefits, but it also increases the speed and scale of misinformation. Falsehood can take root before truth has time to speak. In such an environment, the editorial function is more important than ever. Verification must be your anchor. Balance must be your principle. And professional judgment must be your guide. Criticize government policy, but do so with knowledge and fairness. Your aim must never be to tear down what we are building together, but to help build a better society.
All right, President Tinubu's message comes at a critical time when Nigeria's global perception remains a concern for the government. The challenge for editors and journalists now is balancing their watchdog role with responsible reporting and with social media blurring the lines between professional journalism and citizen reporting. The president's call raises important questions about press freedom and accountability. I'll take some reaction. Imran wrote, That's a fair point from the president. Freedom of expression comes with responsibility. Every citizen should verify before amplifying. However, government too must earn trust through transparency and accountability. When truth is accessible, misinformation loses power. Bayo wrote on X, "Nothing tarnishes the image of a country more than the actions and inactions of those in authority. Compare the action or inaction of a judge, a minister, a senior police officer, a governor, etc., with a random post of an angry youth. Which one weighs more?" Well, the chairman and editor-in-chief of This Day Media Group and Arise News Channel, Prince Nduka Obaigbena, speaking during the All Nigeria Editors Conference, warned that Nigeria risks losing its voice in the global media space due to the growing influence of artificial intelligence and foreign control of digital content, raising concerns about Africa's position in the global digital economy. The media mogul announced the launch of Leke Leke, a new social media platform designed to challenge the US and Chinese dominance in global content distribution. Let's take a look.
AI is changing the format of Google and the format of the search engine. And it's going to change how journalism is run. And therefore, as Africans, we are confronted by a world where one or two countries controls distribution. That is, distribution of content through social media is controlled principally by the US and controlled to an extent by China. So that is the future of the information age we are birthing into. What are we doing about it? How are we responding to it? At the Tize and Arise Media Group, we have launched our own channel, our own social media channel, to be released in January called Leke Leke. And that will shape the future and challenge the dominance of the US and China.
Biden's announcement raises critical questions about Africa's position in the global digital economy. While platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok dominate content distribution worldwide, African voices and creators in the global digital economy. While platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok dominate content distribution worldwide, highlighted African voices and creators often struggle for visibility in the global marketplace. So it's not the just about creating content, as Mr. Obaibena has highlighted, will now provide a fair platform for African distribution in the global marketplace. To shape our so it's not just about creating content. Congratulations, it's important for the Leke media platform will be launched in January. A quick point, I'd like to shape our own stories.
And I think that was a great platform to launch Leke Leke. We've seen adverts already. Media platform will be launched in January. The launch of Leke Leke. And if I said something this morning that was quite profound, which is that AI to launch Leke Leke. We've seen adverts already just saying that awaiting the launch of Leke Leke conference. If I said something this morning that was quite profound, which is that the reason why the chairman and editor-in-chief of Arise This Day Media is leading this is because he's always been an advocate of Africa telling African story from the African perspective. And if you've heard him talk about the reason why he's set up African media such as Tize and Arise, this is one of his motivating factors. And so now going into the AI space, especially with regards to the distribution of information, which is moving more and more to online platforms, it is excellent to see that he's looking ahead, he's thinking futuristically. And this platform would then make sure that Africa has a voice on the global distribution of news and information. A quick note on that is that if you look at AI and the way that information is being given or distributed, what is the data that's put in is the data that you get out. So if you search for news around the African continent, the perspective would be those shaped by the Western world, because they are the ones who control the media in terms of that area currently. And so when we can have more of an African perspective, perhaps the world can get a better view in terms of the African narrative. So excellent point on that.